Try work or your health and disability benefits are going to be reassessed is the new message from DWP. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what that is and how it affects you and potentially how you can go about protecting yourself if you are forced onto this. Now, a recent press release this week announced by the DWP clearly states that their previous intentions to move people from LCWRA to LCW is now going to happen. And they're going to do it in one of three different ways. The first one is that they have made additions to the Universal Credit Act. If you haven't seen that video, I am going to link it down below. The second one is, as of 2026, in order to qualify for LCWRA, you're going to have to qualify for the new health element of universal credit, which is slightly related to PIP and also the new changes in the Universal Credit Act. And then, of course, we have the big elephant in the room that I bet none of you know about because DWP like to roll these out kind of sneaky. Although I did warn you all about this about 16 months ago, as we can see here, is through their new initiative called WorkWell. WorkWell. So, what is WorkWell and how has it come about? Well, we all know from Rishi Sunak when he announced changes in the disability white paper a couple of years ago that DWP ran on the back of that a successful pilot, only asking 25,000 people in the whole of the UK about their WorkWell pilot. So they basically rolled this pilot out in apparently 16 different boroughs, hand cherry picked, I should imagine, a whole load of people with health conditions and disabilities to say, wouldn't you be better and happier in a job? I mean, I would like to believe that, but I used to be employed by the DWP and I had to sue them 3 times because they wouldn't follow their own disability policies. And of course, we can see me outside court on the day winning these 2 points of my case. So whereas they say that they have a proven health and employment support service, I would most definitely beg to differ. Because if that department can't even run policies against their own employees, how the hell can they call this scheme successful and supportive for people who don't work for DWP? But anyway, so it says here, this is being rolled out now across England, and it is, as we can see, in alignment with all the other changes that they have made and are making. And if you haven't yet seen my video about LCWRA, I'm going to link it down below. LCWRA is not even going to exist in 2028. So you've kind of got 2 years to find a solution. So the expansion follows a successful pilot, as I said, supporting over 25,000 people. And this is apparently part of the government's plan for change to break down barriers and boost living standards and support economic growth. I actually find that insulting. How they can claim to support economic growth, how they can claim to support economic growth for people with disabilities when they are literally halving the amount of money that they could get. So LCWRA is currently a payment of £420. The new health element is only going to be £220. So it's pretty much half. It's nearly 50% less. So they're not going to be boosting living standards by doing that because people will be worse off in work because most people in the UK don't have, unfortunately, a lot of skills, particularly people that haven't been in work for a long time, you know, unfortunately. And so, yeah, supporting economic growth. Maybe this is about supporting their economic growth. Because when you look at the facts, 2.8 million people are off work due to sickness, and then suddenly they've been edging towards this for 2 years. The DWP rolls out a £259 million scheme that the taxpayer is paying for, let's not point out, to move people back into work. They haven't talked about all of the legal things you're going to have to do when they don't do things properly. I don't think this is about well-being. I think it's about their economics. I think it's about reducing the national debt, quite frankly, by targeting, yet again, vulnerable people in society, yet again. Now, I do believe having an activity to do or doing something if you are constantly at home because of your health conditions is good. But I don't believe threatening to take people's benefits away if they don't do that is the right way forward. Particularly people who are low skilled, who have mental health conditions, that don't have a lot of support, and who are really reliant on getting their rent paid and feeding themselves because of LCWRA, PIP, which is a non-means tested benefit, and universal credit. I don't agree with this. They are battering disabled people with a cutthroat choice. And I know that to be true because I'm now going to show you the very important part that they didn't include in their press release, but it is in the disability green paper. And that is this. So let's blow this up. And it says, for the overwhelming majority of existing universal credit claimants, this is a guarantee that they will not be reassessed if they try work, right? That's an ultimatum. There's a guarantee that you will not be reassessed if you try work. And it does not work out. ESA claimants undertaking permitted work will also not be reassessed. Therefore, for both groups, we will remove the barrier that trying work may mean they lose their LCWRA entitlement. But nowhere there or anywhere else in that paper does it say what happens if you don't want a job. You know, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to be reassessed. And I bet your bottom dollar that you're going to be found, you know, you need to go, you know, you're not going to get LCWRA. That's what I think is going to happen because they're changing the descriptors. Sorry, let me rephrase that. They have changed the descriptors within the Universal Credit Act. So if you have a health condition that fluctuates or it isn't what they would call seriously chronic, then you're not going to be entitled to LCWRA. So technically, for the first time, your health is being linked to employability. And for most of you, you do not know what that means yet. Obviously, I do because I've been through it and, you know, I talk about it a fair bit on this channel. But the consequences when they don't get it right for the person with health conditions or disability is like extreme. It's not like a little dent. It's not a little scratch on the surface. It's extreme collateral damage. Now, we all know that the people that are going to be dealing with this are actually work coaches that have just been relabeled WorkWell coaches, right? And I'm pretty sure from working at DWP and going through their training myself that they're training those people who are then going to be assessing your health and then signposting you to somebody else to verify whether or not you're fit for work. They won't be accepting your doctor's certificate. That is also written in this plan. It will be one of the WorkWell health assessors. I bet that's Maximus. And I bet you they find you fit for work. But the people, the WorkWell coaches, I bet they're going to be sent on a half a day PDF PowerPoint training. And most of them will be able-bodied, or they might even be someone with disabilities who've got a bit of an axe to grind because they're having to go to work and you're not yet. So I see this very much as this being a complete government scheme that is being positioned to help disabled people, but quietly, I think they're just going to replace fit notes with return to work plans. Let me know what you think about that. I mean, maybe I'm just totally pessimistic because I cannot trust this department that does not even follow their own policies. And, you know, all I'm going to say is they just did, like, they were, evidence that they put in court was highly questionable, highly. And I think this token of you're not being fit for work is going to be exchanged with you're not fit for work yet is going to be exchanged with you're fit to do XYZ. I think they're going to spin the reasonable adjustments on their head. And I don't think this is a coincidence, but if you think WorkWell sounds wonderful, please do let me know in the comments. But I think it's very good PR. I think it's a very good term that has been coined. I think it does sound like help. But if anyone's had any experience with DWP where health and disability is concerned, literally being grilled over hot coals endlessly, ruthlessly, and without any compassion or understanding whatsoever would be an understatement, particularly if you have to apply for PIP. I think, quite frankly, this is like, well, all I'm going to say is every Trojan horse looks wonderful from the outside. Let me know what you think about this, guys. Am I just, being a bit of a bitch? Or do you think WorkWell is going to work well for you? Let me know in the comments. I'm intrigued.